The entire John Madden football franchise is going to die a long, slow, painful death over the next 5 to 10 years unless EA Sports can fix some very important things that I have noticed as somebody who has done nothing but play Madden for a living the last decade of my life. Literally, I am 30 years old. A third of my entire life has been spent being a Madden content creator who has literally delved deep within the depths of Madden, again, the last decade. I have tested, experimented literally every single thing within the game. And it's literally all I've done for a living. And I've started to notice some very critical mistakes that EA have made, let's say since COVID, really over the last 5 to 6 years, some very critical things they have moved away from that I believe is absolutely vital to the long-term success of this game, the popularity, growing the user base. Really 3 core pillars that we will talk about today, things that I believe need to be completely transformed or fixed or addressed over the next 5 years or so. If they can, I believe Madden will be in the right direction, but you can look at Google Trends, you can look all over the internet, and you can tell that the Madden franchise has really stagnated over the last, let's say, 3 to 5 years. If anything, it's actually declining in user base, which I believe there's a very clear reason why that's the case, which we'll discuss today. And again, I say this today with the utmost respect for everybody that works over at EA. I've had the privilege of meeting a lot of them over the last couple years, over the last decade of my life. So many good people over there working at EA, and a lot of things that happen and a lot of the decisions that you guys see really are outside of their control. The guys and gals over there working at EA are extremely passionate about their jobs, and obviously, being as passionate as they are, they just want to deliver the best product possible. Just sometimes, unfortunately, their hands are tied between their backs. They don't have enough people working on some of the important things. So I say all this to say, like, I want nothing for this game to be successful. I want nothing than for this game to start growing in popularity once again, like it did, let's say, from like 2005 to 2015, 2016. We saw steady growth in the popularity of Madden, honestly, probably until like 2020. And again, some very, very important things that they have moved away from, which in my eyes are the exact reason why we've seen this game stagnate in popularity and maybe even decline over the last 3 to 4 years. Now, I will say again, there's 3 pillars that I'm going to talk about today, which really encapsulate why I think this game has started to decline. And I know not everybody's going to agree. Even some of my YouTube pals, aka Eric Rayweather, he doesn't necessarily agree with everything I'm going to say today. So again, just take everything I say today with a grain of salt. Like me personally, as like a YouTuber content creator who's been doing this for a decade, I view Madden and its success on the popularity, how much fun the game is, and the ability to attract new users to the game and not just have to like recycle the same user base year in and year out and actually get to the point where you're not attracting new users to your game. You're actually losing some each year. So again, a successful Madden game to me is a growing Madden game. If you're not growing, in my opinion, you're dying. But if EA can address the 3 things that I talk about today, maybe, just maybe, the Madden franchise can get back on track. So finally, after the extremely long intro yap session, issue number 1, which again, out of my 3 issues / problems today that Madden needs to address, I don't know which is the most important. Some of you might not even think some of these points are important, although I don't see how it even physically be possible not to see this first problem as important. And I don't even know how do I even summarize it? Basically, what I'm trying to say here is everything has got to work at launch, and that's actually been an issue over the past probably 4 Maddens. Most importantly, the things that you promote as new features, they have got to work at launch. I'm not talking about just like little bugs here and there. I'm talking about game-breaking bugs have been in launch almost every single Madden for the last 4 or 5 years, probably even longer than that. And I'll give you some really good examples to kind of portray what I'm talking about here. But when I'm talking about new features this year, I'm talking about all the new things they added to Madden franchise. Some incredible new features that we have seen that literally will transform the game mode just completely upside down. Like the new contract systems, the new trade request systems, the persona system, all that stuff, the negotiation process and free agency, all that stuff sounds phenomenal and things that we have been asking for years that desperately needed attention. But what I'm worried of is all that stuff just doesn't work as intended. And let me explain. I haven't played Madden franchise, so I have no idea. I like literally played a game of like actual gameplay of Madden at like the early launch event party thing. So I have not been able to delve into Madden franchise. But I'm telling you right now, the absolute worst thing to do to attract new users or even like your existing user base, you get them all excited about these new features with there being a decent chance at launch that they don't work as intended. And that really defeats the entire point of bringing out these new features in the first place. You guys know the saying, first impressions are everything. And I'm not just saying this because I'm being pessimistic about these new features. I'm saying this because we've experienced this almost every single year at launch, whether it be the college football franchise or the Madden franchise. I'm not even talking about just like franchise mode either. I'm talking about the superstar mode. Last year, there was like a game-breaking bug where like you couldn't even like see the schedule, like you couldn't even see the stats, or right then and there, like it just completely kills your immersion within superstar mode. Like you're playing a career, but you can't even like track your stats. Like it's like a lot of stuff adds up, man. Again, I'm not talking about just little bugs here and there. I'm talking about like game-breaking stuff. Like I remember superstar mode last year, I played a few games at launch where like the opponent never scored points because they had like linemen playing offense. Like they had linemen playing quarterback. One really important thing that I feel like they can improve at is their entire playtesting process. I feel like a more rigorous playtesting process would like figure out 99% of these bugs immediately. Like maybe this is because I have a content brain, but like when I hop on Madden for the first time every year when I get it at launch, I can notice like 50 bugs within an hour and a half, 2 hours of playing the game, just because that's how my brain works. So I don't know how the playtesting misses so many different things and so many different game-breaking issues. For example, let me just this is like one of the most extreme examples. I don't remember what superstar mode it was, or it was Face of the Franchise. Maybe it was like Madden 22, Madden 21. You probably can find the video somewhere. Basically, it was like the story mode kind of thing going on in the career mode. And it was like the very first drill of career mode where you're like out having to like throw routes to your receiver. Like you're the quarterback, and obviously like the more routes you complete, the better grade you got, better like, I don't know, maybe pre-draft grade you got. And you loaded it up the very first drill of the game mode, and the receiver was invisible. It was impossible to complete a pass because the receiver running the routes was Casper the Ghost. That is what I'm talking about in an extreme example. How does that go completely missed? It is the first drill of Superstar or Face of the Franchise, and the receiver, which I feel like is pretty important that he exists as a human so you can complete the pass to him, started off as invisible. It's like that stuff to the extreme cannot happen. Because you're somebody like on the fringe, like you know how it is, some people don't buy Madden every year, they'll buy it every 2 or 3 years. Imagine you see all these new franchise features that seem like they're completely transformed the mode. You buy the game, load in day one, and none of it works. Like a 95% chance they might not log into Madden again the rest of the year, and more than likely, they're never going to buy the game again. So first impressions are so important. Again, bugs are going to happen, but it cannot be the game-breaking stuff every single year. It's happened in Dynasty, like I forget, I can't, so many different things, man. Like I know last year in Madden, when the game dropped, all the overalls was messed up. Like, if you guys probably can remember with me, I think when Madden launched last year, there was like 999 rated defensive tackles. Like, what do you mean? When the game launched last year, every time you clicked on a load-in menu, every single time you clicked on a load-in menu, you had to wait like 5 to 6 seconds. Like you would, it's dumb stuff. It's kind of what I'm trying to. I'm out of breath here because it's stressing me out so much. It's just so much dumb, unnecessary stuff that could just be caught with more rigorous playtesting, I think. And if it doesn't, like, if it is getting caught by the playtesting, why is it not getting addressed at launch? You know, that's very important to me that the stuff that is intended as new features or just quality of life stuff works at launch, because that is the worst thing to give somebody a bad impression the first time they load up a game. Just mainly this stuff that is like the backbone of your game modes, not even just the new features that I've referenced. Like, if one of the backbones of a game mode doesn't work at launch, that ruins the entire immersion. In Dynasty, I believe it was like position changes were messed up, like the custom schedules were messed up 1 year at launch, and it kind of just killed the entire immersion of everything. Like you couldn't like convert the right position changes. The coaching carousel has always been messed up and never addressed. So like stuff like that like makes or breaks the game mode. It just cannot be malfunctioning when the game comes out and you play it for the first time. Because like typically what happens is like, yeah, there's some game breaking stuff at launch, but they fix it a month down the line. But unfortunately, there's a good chance within that month of you trying to fix these game breaking bugs, half the people that experience them won't even come back the rest of the year. So it's like that. That's why that is so important to me too. And something else, it's like quality of life stuff. Like one thing's gotta be fixed, man, is the freaking menus. It doesn't matter if you're a franchise player, superstar mode player, ultimate team player. The menus feel like they're being ran by a microwave. Literally, when you're navigating the menus of Madden, you feel like you're playing a game on the Nintendo 64. And I say that, and I know it seems so minuscule, but every single person who plays Madden has to navigate the menus one way or another. And it's just like, you just know it's like so unnecessary. And it's just like why does it take like 3 seconds to click a button? Like, I think MMG made a really good in-depth video on that, kind of comparing how long it took them to do certain things without there being menu lag. Like, I think he was trying to build a team on Ultimate Team, and if you took out the lag, the unresponsiveness every time you click a button, it cut out like 30% of the time if it wasn't just for the menu unresponsiveness. So like pretty much you're wasting 20 to 30% of your time when you play Madden just from like the buttons having to like respond. It's got to be fixed, man. It's got to be fixed. And you want your players to feel like you're playing a game in 2026, man. And that's one of my biggest issues as well, outside of the game-breaking bugs and the features not working at launch. Again, man, first impressions are everything, especially for people maybe coming back to Madden for the first time in 3 or 4 years. And you know the negative sentiment that Madden has as a franchise. So imagine somebody who's like, I'm not getting Madden this year. They don't do it for 3 or 4 years. They load up Madden for the first time in 4 years because the franchise features look great. They load in, and it doesn't work. So, like, that stuff has got to be addressed, and that stuff has got to work at launch this year. Because if it keeps happening year in, year out, you are going to continue to lose trust of your user base. And give another 3 or 4 years, man, how many people will really come back? Because you know the saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I could yap about that forever, so let's go ahead and move into point/problem/pillar number 2. And it's another one that I really don't know how to even title it, so I'll just have to explain it. And this is one that, this probably out of my 3 points and 3 problems might be the one that most of you don't see eye to eye with me on it, and that's fine. This is just something that I feel like it's important, and again, might seem silly to you, and it's something that I think a lot of stuff, man, went downhill after COVID. All of life did in general. But community building when it comes to Madden. Like, a lot of you might not have been around for so long, but if somebody's been here for a decade, pre-COVID, there was like actually an online community of like the Madden user base. And there's none of that anymore. Like, you have people within the Madden community who are online, you know, social media and whatnot. But there's not a community anymore. There actually used to be a face of Madden online from like the EA side of things. They always had like a public community manager. And unfortunately, I know why they don't do it anymore. Like, goodness gracious, like the online guys, like Kralo, dude. I don't know if you guys remember Kralo. Oh my God, he was such an amazing person. Such an amazing dude. And that's what sucks. A lot of the really, I'm not saying the guys there aren't awesome, but like some amazing people that have worked at EA in different roles that I've known over the last 10 years. A lot of them have come and gone. One of them's Kralo, was actually a good community leader for Madden. And so, like, just people were mean. People were horrible to him. And, like, he didn't have control over the stuff people were mad at him about. He had no control at all. He was just there to relay the information. That's all he was. And he was great at doing it. But as I mentioned, sometimes hands tied behind your backs, and Kralo was one of those. And that's just like an example, as there used to be a face to the Madden community on EA side of things, and there's nothing like that anymore. They don't have to have an individual face out there to build a community online and like bring Madden players together, you know? As cringy as that sounds. They don't have to have an individual face. They can still do that, because honestly, I would never want to step in that role ever, to be a community manager publicly, because people are mean. Like, people are just mean. But I don't ever expect that to happen again. But they used to, like, I'm trying to even think of examples. They used to involve their community members a lot more publicly. Like, little things I could think of, man, like they used to get community members to do like an online draft. Like, I know that doesn't seem significant at all, but they just used to involve their community so much more online, which really helped kind of bring people together. Yeah, you have your jerks that kind of ruin everything, but at least you had jerks to ruin things, because that meant you had a community to possibly tear apart. That even makes sense. And there's nothing like that anymore. There's like just literally no online Madden community at all, dude. And I feel like community is the core to everything. And like you have your YouTubers, you know, you have your content creators, but everybody's separate. Everybody's just like doing their own thing. Nobody's really together anymore. And again, that sounds lame, but again, community is the backbone to everything. And they don't try anymore, I don't think. They just don't really try, probably because of the bad situations they had with the community manager. But I don't think you have to have a public-facing community manager to build community. I do see them doing like things with their pro players sometimes. Like, they're a lot better kind of like building community amongst the professional Madden players, but nothing with like the content creators or anything. I'm not even saying the content creators have to be involved. There's just got to be somehow, some way, a community building aspect on EA's side of things for Madden. And I think it's really the same way with like FC and their other games as well. Like there used to be a really hard-knit like community at the base of it all. And I do think the whole like public-facing community manager abuse that they were given really kind of ruined that. But again, I feel like it can be done. Now, again, I know a lot of you might not agree with that and probably don't think it's important at all, and I understand that. I just view things from a different, unique lens. I feel like there's just so many important parts to the machine that all are very important in its own specific ways, and I think community building is one of those. Now, our third and final point that has absolutely got to be addressed, and it's close time for me personally with point number 1. But in terms of like growing the game, I feel like this point is the most important and why this game has not grown a user base at a significant level over the past 6 years. And that is the fact that they are hardcore pigeonholing every user on their game either into Ultimate Team or into franchise. Yes, Superstar mode is there, but again, you might disagree with me, but Superstar mode in terms of popularity is head and shoulders below what Face of the Franchise and Long Shot was. I know like you always have two completely different kinds of people. Some people like the story mode stuff. Some people like just the Superstar mode. You can just tell from a YouTube viewpoint of thing. People enjoyed the story mode stuff more than what they have in Superstar mode. But that's beyond the point. The point is Madden is obviously pigeonholing people into two game modes, franchise or Ultimate Team. I'd be asking, RBT, why is that even a problem? Because franchise mode, Ultimate Team, that's the two biggest Madden game modes. So obviously it's where to put all their effort towards. What you think about it, brother? A lot of you might be too young for this, and a lot of you might not have been around for this long. But just 5 to 6 years ago, we had these two little game modes, as good examples for my point here, in the Madden Draft Mode / Draft Champions and Superstar KO. The amount of people that played those game modes that had no interest in Ultimate Team itself or franchise itself was exorbitant. The amount of new users that came onto that game that played those two game modes just for fun because it was fun and it was different was insane, dude. You can see it directly translated into YouTube views. And I'd like to think YouTube views, a lot of the time, are kind of correlated with the public interest and what they want to see and what they want to play on Madden. There's a very important reason I don't play Ultimate Team anymore. It's because nobody wants to watch it. The ceiling is so low. Only unless you count MMG's Will of Mutt series. That's like the only type of YouTube Ultimate Team content that even gets like 100,000 views because the public sentiment and the user base on Ultimate Team is lower than ever. Might be making more money than ever on Ultimate Team. I don't know. I don't know the business details, but I can tell you just from my public sentiment, there has never been less users or at least less hype on the Ultimate Team game mode. That's why me, let's say your boy Pizza, and some of the other big names out there who used to make 15, 20 Ultimate Team videos a year, never touch the game mode anymore because nobody cares. It's like at this point in time, it's like if somebody wanted to play Ultimate Team or franchise mode, they would have already done it. But what needs to happen at that point to actually bring new users onto your video game? You have to have something new that people actually like. And that's what Superstar KO and the Mud Draft game mode was for years. That was pretty much everybody who wasn't the biggest fan of franchise, wasn't the biggest fan of actually grinding Ultimate Team. That's how they played and that's how they got their enjoyment. And for some reason over the last 4 or 5 years, those two game modes have been completely stripped. Completely, like to the point where they're like not even really in the game anymore. And that alone, like literally just like updating those game modes for the last 5, 6 years, not even having to come up with anything new. If you just kept those two game modes updated throughout the years, that's probably, I would estimate, an extra probably 200,000, 300,000, maybe even more people that would regularly log into your game just to play those two game modes, but they're not there anymore. Again, that's not even considering like needing to desperately innovate and come up with a new game mode. That's the new Superstar KO. That's the new Mutt Draft. Because those two game modes, when they were implemented for the first time, I don't know the numbers, but I'd be willing to bet like 1 million plus people logged on to play those two game modes over the course of the year, just out of the pure interest of those two game modes alone, outside of Ultimate Team and outside of franchise. I'm just assuming here with these numbers, but the user base on those two game modes were a lot larger than what you think. And those people that only enjoyed those two game modes, because obviously they're kind of more arcadey, there's like a 95% chance that those players don't even play Madden anymore. It's just like it is time for Madden to innovate and bring something to the game that is not franchise, that is not Ultimate Team. They are long due. And it's literally been since Superstar KO, since they brought something completely new to the table. That was 2019, I believe. Maybe even Yeah, it was 2019, I think. That's the last time they actually innovated, brought a new game mode to Madden that brought in a new influx of users. It's been 7 years. They had Mud Draft, the original draft champions, 2016 when it dropped. That brought in hundreds of thousands of new users who played that game mode religiously on its own for 4 or 5 years until they stopped updating it. Superstar KO, same exact thing. They brought in 2 new unique game modes within like a 3-4 year span, and they have not brought in anything since then. Outside of, if you call like the career mode thing, like changing from face of the franchise to superstar mode, I don't consider that being innovative because it's still the career mode. But again, it's just aggravating because even without the new innovation that I've been referencing here, if they just had superstar KO like they used to, they had the Madden draft mode like they used to, that's hundreds of thousands of users that would be logging onto the game to play at a regular basis that just don't play it anymore. So again, in recap, I think we're going on like 2021 was like the last year they really updated Superstar KO / Mutt Draft. Maybe it was even 2020. So we're going on like maybe year 6, maybe year 7 without having anything new, innovative come to the game. So the longer you go pigeonholing your users into franchise and ultimate team, you're just never going to experience exponential growth anymore. It is well beyond time. We're, again, like 7-8 years now into them bringing in a new innovative game mode. It is beyond time to drop something like that so your users finally have a new, fresh experience within the Madden franchise, which will hopefully help you once again see some half-decent growth. Do you ever talk for like 30 minutes and just like not remember anything you said? Big yap session, very big yap session, but I'm very passionate about this. Like, I felt strongly about these 3 points for a while. I don't know what you guys are going to think about it. But again, I just want nothing more for this game to be successful, nothing more for this game to grow. But seriously though, I am very curious to hear your guys' opinions on what I had to say. Like, I do wholeheartedly believe they're able to tackle all 3 of these problems. We'd see Madden reach heights that we haven't seen probably since 2019, maybe even earlier than that. So yeah, let me know your thoughts, subscribe and all that jazz. I'm going to sit down, calm down, because this kind of did raise my cortisol a little bit.